Hello everyone, if you are new here, I am Amy and this is Amy's Bookshelf. Today I want to give you some recommendations, 5 books I want to recommend that you read, and the theme is Platonic love stories. I love romance and romantic stories, but the older I get and the more widely I read, the more I realise that the stories of people falling in love with each other, be that romantically or platonically, is what I really, really love. I have a lot of great romance reads and romance recommendations that I could give people, but I think platonic love stories are actually really beautiful, and watching characters fall in love with each other is something that makes my heart very full, but I genuinely believe it's not something that has to manifest itself in like a sexual or romantic relationship, and it's wonderful being able to watch people find a bit of themselves in each other, and so yeah, that's why platonic love stories I think are a really brilliant story to write about and something to include in a book. And I have 5 books that feature platonic love stories that I want to recommend you and that I hope you like the sound of and want to read. So these are my recommendations of brilliant platonic love stories. Let me know if you have any of your own, and yeah, let's get into it. So first up is Lily and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. This is a story which focuses a lot on struggling with your mental health and the very real manifestations of that struggle. Our main character is called Ted, and he has a dog, this little dog here called Lily, and this is his best friend. Ted and Lily do everything with each other. They share their lives with each other, they talk to each other about everything, play Monopoly together, and share a very strong bond. And the fact that she's a dog is honestly very irrelevant. And I really do love it for that. So yeah, they are best friends. One day, however, the octopus shows up and Ted becomes very determined to get rid of it, 8 tentacles and all. So this book really is just simply an expression of love and how hard we want to fight for the things that we love, especially when they are in jeopardy, and that was really, really lovely. It's very unlike any other book I have read, and if you do give it a go, then I urge you to stick with it, because I think it's a bit of a slow burn and something you kind of have to become invested in, but that might take a little bit of time. I remember when I read it, the plot itself was actually my least favourite part of the book. But the rest of it was really brilliant. The way that it cleverly touches on heavier themes and the increasingly absurd metaphors it uses are really brilliant. And it's so unique and surprising and also incredibly emotional. And to come back to my point, and the reason that it's on the list is that it is a great expression of platonic love in the form of Ted and Lily's friendship. So if that sounds up your street, then I'd really recommend it. And like I said, I promise you will not have read anything like it. Next up is Mayflies by Andrew O'Hagan. I read this at the beginning of the year, I think, and at first I wasn't very invested in the book at all, or in the storyline. The first part is about a group of teenagers in Scotland in the 1980s, and the main 2 characters are called James and Tully. Tully is really the main character of the whole story. Now I don't know if it was just the fact that it was set in Scotland in the 1980s, but I was really expecting it to be like Shuggie Bain. I was getting a lot of Shuggie Bain vibes, and I think because of that I was expecting James and Tully to have a romantic relationship, and I was expecting them to end up together romantically, but that's not what happens. The book is split into 2 parts and it's a slow burn, so again, similarly to Lily and the Octopus, I urge you to stick with it if you don't love the first part, because I didn't, but everything really comes to fruition in part 2 and it is worth the wait, so just stick with it. It's not too long either, so worth it. Yeah, so especially in part 2 it becomes evident how deep James and Tully's friendship is, and while there's no romantic connection, you can tell they have found like a soulmate in each other. Even when they're having conversations that include their respective wives all together, I think it's very clear that James and Tully are the ones that understand each other 100%, and that's kind of how the author makes it come across, and I think their friendship is what is at the forefront of this book, and I think it's a really great book if you're looking for something about like messy, imperfect friendships. This is really great, and I think about friendships that stand the test of time as well, and that is how this is in my platonic love stories recommendation. Next up is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zula Katao. Now this was in my September wrap up, so it is very fresh in my mind as I read it very, very recently. The book is set in Syria and concerns a few characters who are trying to leave Syria amidst the ensuing conflict there and are contemplating how to get out of the country and what the best way of doing that is. Now I think this book actually fits the brief in two ways. So firstly is the love between our main character Salma and her sister-in-law Layla. They have lost all of their family, it's only those two left, and they live together, and it is immediate how strong their bond is. Layla is also 7 months pregnant, which I think really plays into the story and how much they're trying to look after each other. They have a lot at stake, especially with the pregnancy, and they are both so determined to survive and also so concerned with each other's safety. Their friendship is really moving and emotional, and they clearly have so much love for each other, and I thought that was really beautiful, and I loved watching them interact. The second way I think this book fits the brief is between Salma and Syria. Throughout the book it is so clear how much she loves her country, and she is also so torn about whether to leave. That is a really vocal point in the book. Despite the horror of everything that is happening and what she's going through and what she has been through, she has so much loyalty and pride for her country, and that becomes really clear in the book, and that is really beautiful as well. So the whole book really is a love letter to Syria, and I adored the way the author executes that. So yeah, two ways I think the book fits the brief. It's a story of friendship between two sister-in-laws and also between someone and their love for their own country. Next we have Elif Shafak's 10 minutes and 38 seconds in This Strange World. This book starts with the death of the main character called Layla and everything that she goes through in the ensuing 10 minutes and 38 seconds after her death. The reason I want to talk about this book in this list is that I think it's a perfect showcase of found family. Layla has a group of friends that she heavily relies on and that she has a very strong connection with, and for various reasons the characters in the book, those friends, can't always find love and companionship in their blood family, so they go out and find it in other people, in their friends that they make. There are a few books that I think are really good at showing found family. Another one that comes to mind is Casey McQuiston's One Last Stop. I love the friendship there and like the group of friends there, but I think this also does it brilliantly. I love so much when people find a piece of themselves in other people and feel comfortable and safe in those people, in and around those people, and I love that they find other people that won't judge them for what they've done or for who they are, and will love them for who they are as well. So yeah, that's really great, and I think that the love between them is the reason it's in this book. Their platonic love for each other is really brilliant. The love that Layla's friends in particular have for her and what they do proves how much they care for her, like what they do after her death or while they're looking for her proves how much they care for her, and I think that's really truly beautiful. So yeah, the found family in this is the platonic love story, and the reason it is part of this list, and I would highly recommend this and also anything else by Elif Shafak because she is a brilliant writer. And my final recommendation is The Murderers Ape by Jacob Wegelus, and this is translated from Swedish and is a middle grade read. If you haven't read any middle grade or you're very new to the genre, then I would really recommend this. It's a great place to start. So this is about a gorilla called Sally Jones. She is an engineer and she works on a ship with her friend the Chief. After a series of events, the Chief is wrongly accused of murder and he is actually put in prison. So it becomes Sally's job to prove his innocence and set him free. Now, similarly to Lily and the Octopus, you do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit because obviously Sally is a gorilla, much like Lily is a dachshund, so, you know, just bear that in mind. But I do think that, you know, that aside, I think the sense of adventure that this book captures is really wonderful. Sally travels all the way around the world to solve the mystery of the murder and get the Chief released, and I can completely imagine how in the hands of a middle grade reader this would make them fall in love with reading, because there's so much about it to love. It's unique and it's gripping, and at its core is a beautiful story of friendship. Sally and the Chief would help each other in any and all ways they can, and that is routinely proven throughout the book in their actions, in what they do for each other. Now, while the book touches on heavier themes like prejudice and misogyny, it's really just a beautiful story of friendship, and that is why it is in this list. I think the fact that Sally is a gorilla is just really unique and wonderful and adds another layer to the book, but ultimately the friendship between Sally and the Chief, and actually a couple of the other characters in the book, is really great and really profound, and yeah, I'd really recommend it as a great platonic love story. Okay, and that is the 5 books on my list, so just a little short video for you, but I hope you have found something. And while I could give you a million romance recommendations, I hope I've piqued your interest a little bit to read about love stories that aren't rooted in romance or sexual relationships, because I think they're really beautiful and definitely something that everybody should read, and definitely a really great thing to write about too. So I hope you have enjoyed. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it and please subscribe to my channel, and I'm hoping to get some more videos out. I was slacking a little bit in September, so I am hoping to get out some more videos in October, and yeah, so I hope you look forward to those, and I will see you next time. Bye!